Yes, guys, today we're going to be speaking to Jack Broom. Jack Broom is a former artist manager. He's been artist managing for the last 10 years or so. He is now stepping into electronic music education. Jack's going to be speaking to us about the 5 stages of the artist roadmap, what that looks like, and what kind of pain points and solutions you're going to have to go through to elevate to the next stage of your artist journey. Hey, Jack Broom, how's it going, bro?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. It's nice to speak to you. It's been a while
Yeah,
since
likewise.
I last saw your face on trackstack. I think the first time I saw you was just after I literally started working with Cameron and George. It was back in 2020. I want to say the end of 2022. I saw you doing like some artist management stuff on Plus. Like I think one of the you did like an hour podcast with Cameron maybe. Want to just
Yeah, I
talk
think that's
about?
right.
Want to just talk about like your past in terms of what your affiliation with trackstack in the beginning and kind of
Yeah.
but the pivot you've recently just done and just like a quick little overview of who you are and obviously your
Yeah,
background.
sure. So my main discipline has been artist management for 15 years, which I've just left and
Mm.
we'll get onto in a bit. So I've managed artists across a range of genres. I started off in like EDM and trance. Managed the likes of a guy called Audion, Mark Sixma, Tala 2XLC. Karanda. Then in 2015, I moved into like the house scene, started managing artists like Tim Taylor,
Nice.
Sophia SL, Fleur Shaw, ADR. I'm sure there's Jay Delice. There's a lot of artists I've
Nice.
managed in 15 years, so
Fire.
it's a lot to remember. And then yeah, with regards to TrackStack, I think I've been working with TrackStack for a couple of years now. Just started off really doing like business development kind of role, just helping plug artists and labels into the ecosystem and kind of bringing
Mm.
them on board
Nice.
to get them set up. And that's kind of really my main things. I do also do PR work and now going to be moving into like the educational sector.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think that's the next question I had is like, because I mean, it was news to me when I reached out to you to have you on to have a chat about like, your expertise, and I think you told me that you just recently kind of pivoted. So I want to just
Yeah.
quickly touch on maybe what that looks like and the reason why.
Yeah, so I mean, for a long time I've been doing management, but the thing is with management, you're kind of limited in the scope of people you help. From day one, the reason why I got into artist management in the first place was to help artists,
Hmm.
whether it's through helping protect them from dodgy contract deals or just generally helping them navigate the industry from the business perspective. So after 15 years of doing it, it just came to a point where I was parting ways with a couple more artists on the roster, and I just felt like it was the right time to kind of widen my scope because I've been planning in the background to build my own educational like products and services. But the thing is, artist management's quite a labor intensive role.
Okay, yeah.
So it was slowly I was building these products and services, but it's like it probably would have taken me a few more years to build those
Yeah.
products and services if I was continuing on with management. So it just felt like the universe was sending me a
Nice.
signal to kind of this was my time to step away from management, move into the educational sector. And by doing that as well, now I'm going to be able to help more artists
Mm.
rather than just a select few. And arguably, a lot of the artists I was managing, they don't need a manager. They're already on the way to breaking
Mm.
through. So
Okay.
it's like I want to be helping the artists that need that opportunity to accelerate their career or like, build their knowledge and
Yeah.
have the tools at their disposal to be able to break through. Because I've worked with, I don't know, countless artists that I've helped break through. So
Nice.
yeah, it made sense at this point to move on to the next chapter.
Yeah, and that sounds good, bro. I think with your expertise, I think it's a smart play to like kind of widen your net and kind of build products that like with your experience that you've learned over the years, and then because there's way more, I would say, like aspiring artists now than especially in electronic music than there's ever been ever. Just like the
Yeah,
accessibility, and I think and there's way more like artists trying to break through. So I mean, the point of this conversation is for us to talk about, or for mainly for you to give a kind of roadmap of what it looks like to be an aspiring artist. Because I think a lot of people get into the game, they just see the guys at the top, or they see the guys that are like being supported by the guys at the top, and it's
Yeah,
kind of, it's not something people talk about, that the kind of A to Z. So
for sure.
what do artists need to understand, or like in a nutshell, around this idea of like career stages? Because yeah, it's
I
it's
bet
vague.
I mean, the first thing, like anyone will tell you, is it's a lot of hard work.
Hmm.
And if you're coming into this because you want to be famous,
Or
then
get
it might
paid.
not be the right career for you. I mean,
Yeah.
look, there is a way to do it that way. But ultimately, either way, if you want to become a famous influencer DJ, you still got to put the work in and be a good marketer.
Mm.
So when people talk about one being worth less than the other or whatever, it's just that's your personal opinion. It doesn't matter who you are as an artist, you're going to have to work hard. Whether you want to be that kind of showy influencer DJ or you want to be a proper music head kind of
Mm.
artist, either one, you're going to have to work. There's
It's
no
competitive,
shortcuts to
yeah.
this. So I would say, yeah, hard work, consistency. Like
Mm.
consistency is the most important thing because this industry is built on, I mean, it's definitely getting more and more professional in the 15 years I've been doing it. It's become more and more professional. The younger generation are a bit more switched on like that.
Hmm.
They're a bit more serious versus previous generations that would be off their faces all the time.
I was about to say.
Um, so, 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 so from that point of view, consistency is still a big thing because if you're consistent and you turn up and people know you as being reliable, you're already ahead of 50% of the other people that are trying to do it. So that in itself, just doing the simple things well.
Mm.
And sometimes, for me, those are the two most important things on that roadmap at any
Mm.
stage in your career, because ultimately you think the top 1% who are up there, the reason why they're up there is because you can rely on them, they're consistent.
Mm.
It might be that they have a sound that you hear again and again, but that's what the public want and that's what the audience want. They like
Mm.
familiarity.
Hmm.
But you look, there's a small percentage of people that have fully dialed in, like proper music heads that, want to hear a variation. But in general, if your aim is to be up there with your Jamie Jones, your Peggy Goos or
Mm.
whatever, then consistency and hard work are the two most important things.
Nice, bro. Yeah, I think when you were saying that, I was just thinking about all the big names that I kind of look up to. They're all um professionals, and to be a professional you
Yeah.
have to be consistent and disciplined
Yeah.
just over time, because like you look at Jamie Jones,
Absolutely.
he hasn't built his party, his label, and his personal brand like by
Yeah.
accident. Like he didn't just stumble across that, and he didn't just do it in a night. He did it in like nearly two or
Yeah.
three decades. Like
That's it.
um, so in terms of the artist roadmap, well, we both kind of, I mean, you've given me like a rough kind of guide. So we've got the foundational stage, the momentum
Yeah.
stage, the kind of professionalizing stage where it's the transition between the momentum
Yeah.
and going full
Breaking
time.
through and kind of,
Yeah. So yeah, so after that would be full time, I guess, and then kind
yeah.
of finally we can just put this like umbrella of monetizing your expertise, which can
Mm.
come in different forms. Obviously, when you've kind of gone full time in the industry, there's going to be multiple different income streams you're going to be working with. So I would say the majority of TrackStack's audience is going to be in the foundational and the momentum, and then probably the professional stage.
Yeah.
Um, a handful, I'd say like a quarter in the full-time monetizing their expertise stage. So
Yeah.
let's start with the foundational stage. How would you define someone who is in stage one of the, artistry career?
I guess that's people that are probably coming into this, maybe they've been to like their first events and they're, encapsulated by the whole experience and think, yeah, I want to do that.
Mm,
So they're opening Ableton for the first time, they're getting their first pair of decks or going to Pirate Studios or wherever
mm,
to learn how to DJ. So they're literally in the phase of just building their skill sets and
mm,
establishing, first of all, how much do they love this? Is it just going to be a bit of a hobby? Is it going to be they're fully into this, they're going for it? And essentially the main focus is building your skills. And I think
Mm,
like most people, like if you pick it up straight away, the likelihood is you're going to like it.
mm,
And you're going to start to become really good at it, have an aptitude for it. So really the focus is on building your skills and then starting to establish your personality in your music, like experimenting with sounds,
mm,
trying to establish, are you into trance? Are you into house? Are you into drum and bass? Are you into garage music? And kind of just playing around with that. So I think the early stage is literally it's just about your skills and kind of
mm,
understanding that. I think at that stage, as much as it's good to have an interest in the industry, it's not the focus. And I think a lot of people, because the way the world is now, with especially with like capitalism and things like that, they're very much focused on, right, I've decided I want to do this as a career. I want to be big, and they want to skip all those steps. So they start
yeah.
looking at all these things, which is great that you've got that ambition. But I think ultimately you're best off just, especially as things go on, the more professional it gets, you're going to have a more pressure on you. So just in that early phase, I would just recommend people just enjoy it,
Mm,
enjoy the discovery phase, embrace it, experiment, be open-minded with different sounds. Don't try and put yourself in a box too early because that in itself will cause problems as well. So yeah, I would
mm.
say it's mainly about your skills at that first step.
Yeah, I fully resonate with that, bro, because I think like when I got into making music, it was like I want to say 2016. Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
10 years ago now. And obviously social media wasn't as big back then, but if I was getting into it now, I think it's it's very hard to not look at what everyone else is doing because it's right in your
Yeah,
face. Especially like, I mean, I
that's
don't
it.
really use TikTok, but you see like it, it's just electronic music now. Especially if you look at the big
Mm,
festivals, like you've got
yeah.
like Coachella, I think is there's electronic music DJs and producers on every lineup, which
Yeah, oh
was
yeah, yeah,
never the case.
absolutely.
So, and just to wrap that foundational stage up, and we'll do this with
Mm,
everyone. Maybe
yeah,
just
sure.
in your expertise from all the clients you've dealt with and artists, what would you say is the kind of the one main bottleneck or problem that people that are in this foundational stage, the aspiring artists, are kind of dealing with?
I think the main issue or the problem that a lot of people experience is they're trying to run before they can walk.
Mm,
So it is ultimately because, like you said, the way the world is, they've gone and seen like Jamie Jones play and they want that. So they want it instantly. So as soon
yeah.
as any kind of challenge or rejection comes up, and what I would say is maybe at least the first year to 18 months, maybe even 2 years, apart from sending music to other artists, you shouldn't really be aiming to try and get signed in that period
Yeah.
because you just don't need to, especially as most people picking it up these days are tend to be like, 16, maybe even
Yeah.
younger. So why are you in such a rush? You're so young. Like most artists that break through, especially in electronic music, the plus side of electronic music is age is less of an issue. There's a lot of artists I've seen, like there's this lady called Charlotte Moss that's breaking through, that's a bit older. Darius Sorosian, he was in his mid 30s, I want to say, when
Mm,
he was breaking through. Like, I think all of the kind of guys like Josh Baker, they're around 30 years old.
yeah. Yeah.
So he's been doing it 10 years since
Yeah.
then. Uh, since whenever until now that he's broke through. So it's just don't rush it. Like just focus on making sure you're shit hot. The
Yeah.
analogy I would use is you don't decide I want to be a boxer today and then set up a fight with like Mike Tyson or Anthony Joshua tomorrow, do you?
Yeah.
You build your skills up because otherwise you're going to get annihilated.
Yeah.
So that's how you should be approaching this. Like, look, there's a lot of artists that break through really early and then they have wobbles. In fact, I saw a clip with Danny Howard the other day, and he was talking about this. You don't want just a one-off hit. You
Hmm.
you want to be able to build up a back catalogue of music where you feel confident in yourself that you've got some consistency, you've got a bit of a sound going on and a bit of personality to your music before you start sending that music out.
Mm.
In fact, the thing I would say is I always say to artists as well, before you even start sending to your first ever label, make sure you've got around at least 12 tracks that you're really happy with, because
I
that's
like
about
that.
3 or 4 EPs worth of music. So you're already
Yeah.
giving yourself a head start. So if
Mm.
one of those tracks blows up, you've
Got a
at
body of
least got a
work.
bunch
Yeah.
other, because what's going to happen if one of those tracks blows up, a load of labels are going to start asking you for music. But if you're sending out one track at a time or whatever,
Yeah.
and by chance, because it does happen by chance, a big label like Defected says, "We love this, it's blowing up." You sign to them, everyone starts asking you for music. You're going to get in your own head because you don't know how to replicate what you've just done
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
making it
Yeah.
up as you go along. So give
Mm.
yourself, take the pressure off yourself by working in those batches. You don't have to do 12 every time, but I would say the first time you're ready to start sending out, you want to have 12 that you're super happy with.
Mm. I think, yeah, just but there's so much value in there. There's a load of
Yeah.
great clips, and like I was just listening, I was like, bro, that's a great. That's there's so many little points that I've like, as an artist myself, I've been like just in my head a lot, like, and
Yeah.
I've had to learn these little nuggets that you just said, either by myself through failure or through mentors. But
Yeah.
there's one great piece of advice that I don't think a lot of people realize, but it's just as managing your expectations. Like I remember when I first
Yeah.
moved back here, and I have like a pretty decent relationship with James Poole.
Yeah.
Like I used to like send tracks to him back and forth, and he used to send them to me back when I was in university a good few years ago. And obviously now he got signed to Hot Tracks, and now he's obviously blowing up, and he's
Yeah.
continuing to blow up. Remember, I
Yeah,
text
but he's
him,
been doing it for years, hasn't he? So
yeah,
I know James. James is a lovely guy, and
yeah.
he's been working so hard for so many years, and he's still quite young. I don't know how old he is, but do you know what I
His,
mean? Like it's still
his
taking that time, and there's always that classic thing. There's no such thing as an overnight
Yeah,
success.
but his biggest thing is like that I was kind of misinterpreting, and I think like the main takeaway for this
Mm,
like foundational stage is like I texted him and I asked him like what was your approach with getting the kind of momentum you have with Jamie and his labels and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, I was just producing loads and loads and loads of tracks. I sent him hundreds.
yeah,
And like people
yeah,
don't realize that. Like you don't go into the gym and
yeah,
build a great physique with like a few weeks. You have to do like thousands of
yeah.
reps, thousands of
That's it.
hours in the gym, thousands of hours in the studio. Like if you're an aspiring artist watching this, like you've got to do the reps. Like there's no way around
Yeah,
not doing the reps. Like
that's
I
it.
know you see like Stussy and Josh Baker and all these big guys, but like those boys have done the reps. And they are
Exactly.
where they are because they deserve to be there because they've done the work. So
Yeah, there's very few examples where someone's just come out of nowhere. I think the only one I can think of is that Casso guy with Prada, which was like a massive
yeah.
pop track. But he had that one release. I think I don't. Look. Don't quote me on this because he'll probably say differently, and I can't remember. But I think he'd been producing for like not long, like maybe to 12 months.
Mm.
He didn't even realize that that was going to blow up. It blew up, and then for a while we've not heard from him because I think he's had to go back to the drawing board because he hadn't really developed a sound at that point, and that's an example. You do get people where you hear a bit from them because they have one big track, and then it's like it's too early, and also the
Mm.
support's not there. That's the other thing I would say is work on yourself at the same time because things like you're going to have to get used to getting rejected
Yeah.
like on a
Yeah.
regular basis. So if
Yeah.
you can't handle rejection, you're going to probably quit very quickly, or you're going to have mental health problems.
Bro, facts.
And this industry is surrounded by alcohol and
Drugs.
various other substances. So I would say alongside all of this, be doing that kind of work on yourself as well, because you want to be resilient and you want to be strong because it's going to be a lonely place at times
Bro.
where even if you're networking, even if you feel like you've got a good network, it's going to feel like you're on your own. So I
Mm.
think your mental health is very important.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than spending a month making a track and sending it to your inspiration and they decline
Yeah,
it. I've been there
yeah, for
plenty of
sure.
times. It's character building. But yeah,
Yeah,
onto the second stage of the artist's journey. So this is the momentum stage. So this is kind of when they're starting to get the early wins, they're starting to get some recognition, they're starting to build
yeah,
some kind of community, maybe the first bit of support. the first video that's been sent to them, you know, the first person asking them for feedback on the tracks. It's like that stage.
Yeah,
I would say for me when I first got a little bit of support, it's almost like you're validated that you're not shit
yeah,
because when you get declined, you're just like I'm shit. You just
yeah,
conclude
yeah.
that you're not good enough. So, what would you say? I mean, I kind of just explained what that stage is, but what in your expertise, and then also what would you say some of the problems people deal with in this stage?
I think the main problem is that some people they'll get their first bit of recognition and they'll think that's it. They've made it. Like, oh my God, Jamie Jones has played my track. So then they're like, where are my bookings?
Oh
Get me
yeah.
a manager. And it's like you've had like one video. That's just the start. The focus should be on, right, how can I capitalize on this? How can I build momentum? And also just keep making more music. Ultimately, that is always going to be the thing you as an artist can control. Most other things are external things in your environment that you can't control. You can try your best, like I said, and seize momentum, but in general, the only thing you can control is keep making more tunes, especially when you're in that buzz phase. The creativity is probably going to be
Mm,
higher than ever. So
mm,
if that's the case, don't sit around, get back in that studio because you're probably going to be your most inspired when your endorphins are up, you're getting that dopamine hit. Focus on that. Don't focus on getting more dopamine hits online or whatever. By all means, like use the videos, promote them online, etc. But the biggest problem is expectation, I think,
mm,
kind of outweighs like what really is going to happen. So I think it's just trying to keep yourself level-headed and realize that's just the first stepping stone. Use it as a positive in the sense of that's great that that's happened, but I need to get more, like I need to seize more of that
mm,
by making more music. So don't just stop
mm,
because inevitably, even if Jamie Jones plays that track, it gets picked up, like I said before, you need more music to back it up
mm,
because that's
mm,
what's going to happen is people hear your track, they're like, oh my God, this DJ's sick. I like, where's more of this stuff? And if
mm.
you haven't got it, you're going to be in your own head. You're going to be pressurized, and that's not a conducive kind of environment for you to be your best creative self, So I would say, yeah,
Nice.
don't just rest on it. Just keep going.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add to that is I can't remember who. I think I was speaking to Cameron about this actually,
Mm,
and we was talking about like when someone gets supported, you kind of forget that that was a 2 or 3 hour set, and the amount of
yeah,
tracks played in that set was probably 40 to 60 or less.
yeah, yeah,
So that's 40 to 60 other people and other collabs, and
exactly.
you're one of them. And how many sets Jamie plays per year, and how many tracks he gets sent on tracks, like, and how many tracks he shortlists.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not to discredit or to take away the value of that. I think it's a
No,
huge
of course not.
momentum. Like I think it's one of the best momentum triggers for the aspiring artist. But I really like what you said about it's not a signal to take your foot off the gas. I really like what you said
No.
about like I need a manager now. It's very easy to think
Yeah,
I'm successful now. I need the manager.
that's it.
Where's the gigs? And it's like no, it's not. It's
Yeah, yeah.
not the
Yeah,
way.
one video, one record label signing, even if it's on a defected, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the gigs
Mm,
instantly coming in. And I think that's it. A lot of people then sit back thinking, oh, that's it. I've done what I needed to do.
mm,
And it's like, that's
mm.
just the first step. You've got to
You.
build on that. But also use it as a positive in the sense of you've opened the first door. So
Mm,
and also, it's like if you're getting someone that's engaged with you, like a Jamie Jones or Defected or you and me or whoever, and they're engaging with you, focus your energy on building that relationship.
yeah.
Don't try and focus on attracting all these other people who at the moment are not interested. These are the people, they're the tastemakers that are going to help build your career. No one will make or break you. That you're the one that will make or break you. So don't also put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm,
But when these opportunities come up, you want to focus your energy on those relationships because ultimately they will help support that next step.
mm. Yeah, I really like that. I'd just like to wrap this point up with I think what you just said then, a great example of that being like actualized is James Poole. The relationship that
Yeah,
he built with Jamie and Jamie's
exactly.
labels, um, he was consistently building relationship with them and um, simultaneously obviously getting support from different people, creating relationships with people like Goosey and other people on his level.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was just consistent with building a relationship with a small
yeah,
amount of people, and then that's obviously paid off. Jamie knows his name, keeps playing his stuff. I remember
yeah.
seeing like an Instagram story that uh, Jamie put on with James Pill's track is like obviously released on his Hot Tracks label
Mm.
on the Instagram story. I'm like that's just beautiful. Like that's just like a
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful like
that's
full
it.
circle story.
That's
So,
it.
so yeah, bro. So the next stage is going to be so the transition from the momentum stage. You get a bit of support, and then I would say the next stage is the professionalizing
Mm.
or like the kind of professional
Yeah,
but not full time. So we can say this is the person that is getting multiple support videos. They've had a few, let's say, small labels and then maybe one or two decent labels. They're starting to get some gigs consistently. Maybe they've got people reaching out to them for tracks,
yeah,
um, making a bit of money now, actually getting paid decent, well,
yeah.
relatively decent. But still not enough to leave the full-time job. It's still a bit risky to do
Mm.
that. So what would you say, I mean, in your expertise, like what that stage is in a nutshell, and then what are the kind of problems they're dealing with, what they're going to deal with?
Yeah, so I think it's always tough because this is like you're kind of almost in purgatory in the sense of
Mm,
you feel like you're on the cusp of breaking through where you might be able to leave your day job, but also you've still got that taking up time and bandwidth. When then you've got your career where you're essentially that's the direction you want to go. So I think one of the biggest challenges for artists at this stage is saying no to stuff
mm,
because they feel like they should just say yes to everything, which isn't necessarily the case. It's quality over quantity and what you feel is going to make the biggest impact. So if something like a label comes in and asks you for music, that's going to be probably a relatively new experience. You're going to be like, oh, this is so cool that I'm getting asked for music. So you feel like your ego's being stroked. So you're inclined to say yes, but you need to be more critical in your analysis of
mm,
things and realize, well, what's it going to lead to? Is it going to lead to bookings? Is it going to how does the label operate? Do they do PR? Have they got a good DJ promo service? So you want to be looking at like their socials to see do they get a lot of support? Because it might be a label you've never heard of before as
mm,
well. And if they're not hitting any of the KPIs that you want, like you might be that at that moment in your career, you're looking for more streams. It might be you're looking for a Beatport number one. It's going to vary from artist to artist what your goals are. And if it doesn't align with your goals, then you shouldn't be doing it because
mm,
that time you're being distracted from that could be time spent in the studio because especially if you've got a full-time job and you've only got evenings and weekends, your time is precious. So
mm,
what is the thing that's of most value? It's you still consistently creating music because at
mm,
this stage in your career, you just want to be flooding the market with your music and you don't have to be releasing on labels for that to happen now. Really what I recommend to artists now is I say to them, rather than approaching labels with your music, by all means go for the top labels you love because you want to build that relationship and that's quality over quantity. But what you want to be hitting is the DJs, the tastemakers,
mm,
because if all like a handful of like 10, 15 DJs in your genre are consistently playing your music out, and every few weeks you've got a new batch for them, it's going to be impossible for the
yeah,
audience and the wider industry to ignore who you are. Then
mm,
the labels will come to you. Prime example, Chris Stussy right now is what Jamie Jones was like 5, 10 years ago, in that if he plays your track, all of the labels come out the woodwork.
mm,
Now I've said that, probably everyone's going to start sending to Chris Stussy, but you still got to be in the right genre. You can't just
mm,
send to anyone just because you think they're a big DJ. keep it to your rough genre. The beauty of a DJ though is they'll play a wider range of stuff, so you don't have to like deep it. You don't have to think so deeply about it. Whereas with a label, you're a lot more
Mm,
intentional because they have a certain sound usually. Whereas a DJ will play a range of sets across the year and whatever else that you don't need to think too deeply. The main thing is, are they in your genre? Are they a DJ you love? If so, send them some tunes.
mm,
The worst that happens is they air them or they ignore them or they come back to you and say, not for me. But the
mm.
next batch could be for them. The number of times I've had where artists try and predict what a DJ or a label wants, and it's always the tracks that they have in their
Yeah.
batch
Yeah.
that are the ones they think they don't want are the ones they want.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen that on the back end. Like one of my things I like to do in my spare time is just kind of go into the admin back end of TrackStack, and we have
Yeah,
like a tool where we can, for marketing purposes, I can reach out to people that have had success stories with TrackStack. But I also get to
yeah,
see who has supported their tracks and like what the track name is. So sometimes I can actually find these tracks online and listen to them if they put them on SoundCloud and stuff. And there's a
yeah.
few that I'm like, for example, Anme supported. I think he said his name. It is JD something Seal. He was
Oh,
like,
Jay Delice,
yeah,
is
him.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he made a track called Control
Okay, yeah.
recently. It's like 128 BPM, bro. And me plays
Yeah,
122 the most. And I was like,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
I was like, what the fuck? So he's slowing this track down to play in his live
yeah,
sets, and I was like, that isn't the norm. But there's one thing I wanted to add, and we'll move on to the next stage. But you just reminded me of when you was talking about feeding the market, which I think is really important
yeah,
for artists to never lose sight of. There
yeah.
was a podcast episode Josh Baker did with the guy that runs Defected. I forget his name.
Where's Saunders? Yeah.
Or the guy that owns
Or
Defected.
Andy Daniel?
Old
So,
guy,
oh,
bald.
Simon Dunmore. Yeah, no, but
Yeah, sorry.
he
Yeah.
sold it to Wes
Okay.
Saunders.
Okay.
Yeah,
Simon Dunmore, sorry, yeah.
yeah,
He was interviewing Josh, and Josh basically said that he's got all these business models and he's got his fingers in all these different opportunities, but he's literally he had to say to his team, like, yo guys, the best thing for all of these businesses is for me to focus on the music. Because when I
yeah,
focus on the music, my personal brand grows and then all these other
exactly.
things grow. So I think Josh Baker, who you could say is like at the top of the top at the moment, is saying that. So if you're not full time and you're anywhere in your career, like if he's saying like
Yeah,
he is where he is because he's fed the market with tunes, it's like
that's it.
it's the highest ROI thing is the music at the end of the day, no matter what stage of your
100%.
career you are. So I would say the next stage is the full-time stage. So I mean, it says what it is on the tin. So the touring artist, or maybe let's say like they've transitioned, they've went
Yeah.
from working the full-time job. Now they've quit the full-time job. They're kind of
Mm,
dabbling. Maybe they've got a manager. Maybe that like they've got agents approaching them. Like, I mean, this is so out of my depth. I wouldn't even know what this would look like. So maybe just kind of paint that
yeah.
picture for someone what a full-time touring DJ looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends what level you're at. There, you've got the new full-time touring DJ, and they'll probably still be, they won't be having like a full schedule. So they might be also supplementing that with doing a bit of like production kind of workshops and one-to-ones to kind of build up. That might be someone like a people I can see with who do that kind of thing would be like Andrew Azara on
Okay, yeah.
Trackstack,
Yeah.
Pack, people
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
that, so they kind of will, supplement their income by using their music skills.
Hmm.
And also you're slowly building your ecosystem as well. And then when they get to a certain level where they're playing week in, week out, they're probably playing more headline shows as well. Maybe they're getting a few grand per show. They launch maybe an event. That'll be the perfect time they launch an event.
Mm,
So there'll be various stages, and then you'll move up. And as you grow those events, you get to like a Josh Baker size, who's a hot artist right now. He's built out his team, so for example, Josh Baker will probably he's got his manager, he'll have an agent for maybe like UK, Europe, or the whole world, and then another agent for the US. Then he might have like a PR or publicist person, a social media team. So it
mm,
really just depends on the size of artist. it will, I think for every artist, it will be different as well. Some are more hands-on, some are less hands-on. So that will also play into who they want in their teams. But I think the best artists are the ones that can trust, predominantly they will trust their manager to kind of bring in all those different specialists into their ecosystem to grow them. And it
Mm,
will just depend on their goals as well, because different artists have different goals. The main thing I notice, obviously, my experience is in like tech house, minimal kind of scene now. And like minimal is definitely a lot more, or has been over the last few years, has been more music driven.
mm,
So, as much as you get the big artists like Max Dean, Josh Baker, Alicia, people like that, there's also that other part of the scene where you've got like Gene on Earth and people like that, where they're much more music focused, but they're still building really
mm,
like good ecosystems around everything. And building a community, that is the most important thing now, is having your own community and going direct to the fans is going to
mm,
provide you with more value than, trying to go through all these intermediaries all of the time because you're just diluting down your money as well.
mm,
So yeah, I think community, but also just understanding what it is you want, like you as a big
mm,
artist want your business to look like, because that's what
mm,
it is you've got a
mm,
business. And the reality is it's not just one business. Each part will be a business. So if you've got a record label, that's one business. Then you've got an events business. Then you might have a tech platform like Josh Baker. I mean, we
mm,
keep going back to him, but he is
mm.
the prime
Yeah,
example at the
yeah,
moment
yeah.
of the modern artist.
Yeah, I really like Josh's DIY approach, and I think this is something that we're really pushing a lot with Trackstack and our
Mm,
kind of evolution with stepping into 2.0 and the new products we've built. Where, Studio and Elevate are basically fitting into what you just said then. So I think it is
exactly.
important for like a lot of artists to understand that, for you to just commit your future to being a
Yeah.
Josh Baker or a Chris Stussy or a Jamie Jones or like a BB. Like, don't get it, that's a great aspiration, but I think it's also important to ground yourself in the fact that, I could go and try to be a Premier League footballer, but the
Yeah.
chances of that happening are also very slim. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's truth, that is reality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think part of our kind of new messaging with TrackStack is making it okay to sell your expertise or even just to like
Exactly.
to still work on that dream, but also be okay with the fact that okay, yeah, I'm gonna quit my full-time job and I'm gonna be full-time in music and I'm gonna teach people and I'm gonna love it and it's okay.
Exactly.
Like,
Well, that's it. I think that's the other thing is as much as like most people do have the ambition to be that big, sometimes along the way you learn that actually I don't want to be in that top 1%. As long as I'm in music full time, which
mm,
you can do so many different ways. And like this is the thing I always say to artists early on when they're like, "Oh, I hate my day job. I just, I want to get out of it." Something like Trackstack or whatever other platforms, Syntho. I mean, Syntho doesn't provide you the opportunity to build your own products. But basically, subscription models, direct to fan, like we've had it the last 12 months, but it's going to become even more of a thing over the next few years, is go direct to fans. Like
mm,
social media is your sales funnel because the reality is you've got 10,000 fans on, say, Instagram or TikTok. Not all of those are going to be super fans, but
mm,
that's what you want to dial down into. Who are the people that are constantly engaging with you? They're the people you want to dial in on as an artist because they could be your market for doing production lessons, mentoring, maybe even just like a subscription service where you ask people, well, if you pay a fiver every month for my channel, I'll give you all of this content.
mm,
Then it might be you have another tier where it's £30 and they get a free t-shirt and a
mm,
whatever else. These are the things you need to think about, but learn from your audience and focus on the ones that are consistently that you notice, even if it's just like one comment on a post, you need to be
Yeah.
really honing in on those people because they become your marketing tool. It's like word of mouth marketing. How I got into dance music was through a brand called artist called Above and Beyond and Anne
Oh yeah,
Junior.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Fire.
their primary thing, like way back in 2007, when I was getting into dance music, you know, me and all my friends are always massively been into business. Is what we notice is they're really good at that community feel,
Mm,
making you feel inclusive at their events, the experience, but word of mouth marketing, because you create that experience for people where everyone feels valued and special. They tell one friend, another person
mm,
tells another friend. It just grows. And before you know it, you've organically grown something. So it's always focus on the people that are supporting you at at the early level because it's very hard when you've got no reputation to try and like market yourselves to everyone
mm.
because it's going to be hard for them to identify with you. So I would just say, yeah, for people to just think about your next step because as soon as you can like bring in some revenue streams that can get you out of your day job, your artist career will also have a massive
Mm,
benefit because you'll have more time to be flexible because you'll be your own boss. So then
mm.
you will be able to say, right, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do mentoring and tutoring, and that gives me, I don't know, say 3 or 4 grand a month from doing all of that. And then the rest of the week, every week, you've got like 60% of your week which is you just focusing on your music, which will just accelerate you. Whereas
Yeah.
before you might have had 30% of your week. And
Mm.
also, not just that, 30% of bad quality because you come home from a 9 to 5, you're probably drained from that
Yeah,
already.
bro.
So
Yeah.
creatively, you're not in the right space. So, really, I think primary focus for a lot of artists early on is find that pathway to get you out of a full-time employment
Mm.
by supplementing your skills. And it might be your employment is that you're a marketer. So you can use that to sell your marketing skills to people in
Yeah.
dance music.
That's some fucking incredible advice, bro. I really think my biggest, I mean, since working in this industry with a lot of artists, I mean,
Yeah,
like, personally myself, the only reason I'm able to like be full time with Trackstack is because of the skills that I've learned that serve
yeah,
the aspiring artists. Because I've had to, like, I remember when I moved out here and I was like, okay, I want to live this like, free lifestyle, but that requires you to be
yeah.
able to provide value to people that have money and you need to
Yeah.
solve problems or save time. If you have no skills, or any business acumen, you will
Mm.
never get paid. Like
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
you can go and be like a replaceable person commodity like in an office job where like
Yeah,
the skills that you have can be replaced with another person. So you just that's why
that's it.
people work 9 to 5s. But I think the main takeaway I really like from what you just said then about it's just this business perspective that I think when people transition into going full time, I think the ones that really thrive, and we even see it like one of the biggest examples Cameron and George use for what you're talking about is a guy called Kai Williams. He
Yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah.
like on the face of it looks, and he is like a touring DJ. He's, full time. He's content and strategy. He's fire. He's doing bits, but he also
Mm.
sells his expertise Monday through
Yeah,
Friday, and he pays his fucking all of his bills, and he's
yeah.
booked out, and he realized that.
Does he live in New York as
In
well?
LA, yeah, he moved to LA.
Oh,
Like
in LA,
he
where you say it's
literally,
not cheap
yeah, bro. This guy's,
to pay your bills and stuff like
yeah,
that. So if he can do it, anyone can do it
yeah,
because those
and
places are not not
yeah,
cheap.
he actually was the one that inspired the evolution of TrackStack in terms of what has been built now. So he approached Cameron and was like, "Is it possible to get an export of all the email addresses of people sending me
Yeah,
tracks?" So he was like,
yeah.
he realized that, okay, what you just said then about your pro fans, your, super
Mm,
fans, he was like, oh, well, all these people sending me tracks want me to play their music. So they probably like what I'm making. So they
yeah.
probably, that maybe, and he was like, okay, I want to just mass email these people. And
Mm.
he just booked all of his week out.
Yeah, that to me is one of the best parts of track is the export. And like lots of artists, when I speak to them, like they still don't seem to get it when I'm saying to them, like, look, this is made easy for you because you can't do that on Gmail or anywhere like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like you can't, it'll be a nightmare. I mean, maybe with AI soon you will be able to, but
What
at
would
the
you say?
moment.
what would you say to an artist? So like what you just said then about like, use your export list. How would you what would you say to them that, provides value to them of using their export list? Because people
Well,
still don't do this.
yeah, it's just more like if you're, especially if you're building a bit of steam, it's like every time you have a release, this is your opportunity. These are people that are sending you music, so they obviously are interested in you. So
Mm,
you can then like they're giving you your permission, giving permission to market back to them to
mm,
support your releases because they like your music. So it's like your prime, it's like your
yeah,
prime audience, without having to do a lot of the work. It would have been work that you've done previous
yeah,
by getting notoriety for your music or events. It might be you're running events as well. These are, yeah, it is your primary audience that's going to be the perfect opportunity for you to market to.
nice.
And also more than anything, I think this is the thing people don't realize is with email marketing, you need to be consistent with it. Don't just do it when you want something. Try and also offer them something
Mm,
back. And that's
nice.
where also doing the production, tutoring, mentoring, the number of people is like if you're even at a intermediate level, there's going to be people before you that need
Yeah,
help. So
always.
don't think you can't do that. And if you're not sure, start off by starting to do some of that social media content online. So, literally the basics of, well, here's my setup. When I first started, I got Ableton, I got these pair of headphones and this. That's a piece of content because there's loads of people. Everyone wants to be an artist or a DJ now. And the way the world is going with AI, more and more people are going to be moving into creative industries. So there's the
Yeah.
new market of people starting every day is just going to grow and grow and grow. So just because you think you're not at a high level doesn't mean there's always someone at a level just before you that you can impart your knowledge to, by giving them the basics. And also that information, that kind of content is the kind of content that tends to do the best within this industry
Mm,
because it's like there'll always be someone older who knows more and wants to have a pop and say, nah, you shouldn't do it like this. But they're just engaging in your posts. So it's just
mm,
helping you. But then there'll
yeah.
be the person that is just starting. It'll really be helpful and that'll be fulfilling for you. Then you can use that and be like, right, well, now I'm building up a bit of buzz on social media. I can monetize that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that. I like what you said about not kind of blasting people with emails only when you want something. When people, I
Yeah,
think it's that reciprocity. It comes from like building trust, and
exactly.
I think what you're saying with these videos that actually provide value and
Mm,
be of service, it builds that like respect and trust of like this guy actually helped me out. He helped me learn
yeah,
this Ableton trick. So you know what? I'll buy his track, or
yeah,
I'll even just like this video. I'll reshare this video or whatever.
that's it.
But yeah, brother, just to
Just,
wrap up,
just,
go for it,
oh,
go
I
for
was
it.
going to say just one more point because I think this is a good analogy for people to use, especially with social media, is a lot of people, their first thing is, oh, I don't like it. I don't really want to do it. So, like, you need to reframe your mindset and think of it as your own online nightclub. It's
Mm,
your community. So, if you think of it like that, it's like, then you'd build your nightclub how you want it to be. So,
mm,
because the number of people you go to an event, you're like, oh, I would do this different. I would do this. I would do that. That's what you can do with your social media. Do it differently to everyone else but make it so it's a community thing because the likelihood is if you think something's missing that you can provide, other people are going to think that
mm.
and then they're going to resonate with it. Then you will start to build something. And then it'll be a lot more enjoyable and you'll find it fulfilling. You won't just find it a chore. It will be a place where you grow to build a community where it's a two-way dialogue. It's not just you going, here's my music, and
Yeah,
then wondering why no one's liking it or
yeah,
engaging with it.
yeah. I think there was just one thing I would add to that. Like
Yeah.
I saw a great clip from Olivia from I believe it's Chicago Music Nexus, and she
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
talking about like, she's a proper music head. She's been into house music for
Mm,
ages. Like she was saying, you know, the only artist that she like actively jumps out of a chair to go and listen to their new release is like two or three people, and she like knows a lot. She's like, I like I
Yeah,
think she said I like 40 to 50 people's music, but I only like actively give a shit about two to
yeah,
three
yeah,
of them. And she said the reason why is because of everything they do between their releases. So
yeah.
all this stuff they post, everything that you've just said about their social media, the BTS content, their
That's it.
story, their mindset, their fails, successes,
Exactly.
just the whole journey, which I think a lot of people miss with social media. They just think I need to just post more about my tunes
Yeah,
or
that's it.
support or whatever. But yeah, brother, we will wrap up in a second. So if you could
Wicked.
give us maybe one kind of, I know this is obviously going to be difficult, but one kind of sentence or piece of advice, it can be a few sentences, that artists and DJs at any stage in their career kind of need to know to always be kind of moving forward, or
Yeah.
just being, yeah,
Is
just the trajectory of,
just keep, yeah, if you're ever struggling or you want to keep moving forward, you've got to keep things as simple as possible.
mm,
So if you feel like your mind is getting too noisy because you're trying to do too many things, strip it back to let's get back to basics. It's like with
mm,
writer's block. Let's get back to basics. Keep things simple, but most importantly, just be your authentic self.
mm,
If and ultimately, it might not resonate instantly, but in the long term, it will resonate more, especially with so much noise now. Everyone is individual and everyone has their own personality. You've just got to believe that people are going to resonate with that, which they will. It might not be for everyone, but to start with anyway, you only want to resonate with the niche. So be yourself and yeah, and keep things simple.
yeah, I like that, bro. Less is always more, bro.
Yeah.
I've always just been the guy that's just like, it needs more. Like, do you know when you listen to a track over and
Yeah.
over, you're like, do you know what? Something's missing. It needs more. It's
Yeah.
like, no, 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 no. Take a break and then come back. And it's like, it's only in the last year or two, I'm like, since I've started really kind of trying to select the sounds in the beginning that work together nicely. Like if you're creating a story, like Harry Potter, I always like to relate to Harry Potter. It's
Yeah.
the characters are very simple. The main characters are very
Yeah.
like they have their own little identities, and they all just work together very well. If you can build a
Yeah.
track, if you can approach your content marketing, if you can approach everything to do with your career in just a very simple way, like have a few decent things, do them really well, but just a few of
Yeah.
them, not
That's
everything.
it.
Like you're gonna
And then
win.
that's it. I think keeping things simple is like the hardest thing for human beings to do.
Yeah.
We like to complicate it. But if you're on a flow and you get something out and it flows relatively quickly, don't question it. That's and then when you stop, you're like, right, okay, that's put that to the side, come back and listen to it. You'll probably be like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I think a lot of the time at that point, just ship it out to some DJs. The
Yeah,
worst
bro.
that happens the worst that happens is they pass on it. You might get the odd one that might give you a bit of feedback. I would do this, I would do that. But like, I think I also remember somebody said that they spoke to Pausa and he was like, basically, I think he doesn't go above 13 channels or something
Oh,
crazy like that in a track, which
yeah.
sounds
I
like
you
so
can hear
little. You can go,
it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But that's it, is like simplicity. You think
yeah,
pop music, you think anything. Doing the simple things well and consistently is probably the most challenging thing for a human being.
yeah,
But if you can simplify things, and when you get to you're doing it naturally and you stop, you're like, okay, that's it. Just leave it alone.
yeah,
Give it a moment.
yeah. I think the ability to be able to, I think, I mean, in my experience, I think a lot of artists struggle with this is that kind of, like when's it ready, or like
Yeah.
it will never be ready. This idea of like, because
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
ready is perfect in your mind,
Yeah.
especially as the creator. It's like, this needs to be ready, but like. I've spent I can't remember who I think it was maybe Zen's World or somebody in a like a production tutorial was talking about like he literally said the person on the dance floor that's had two pills doesn't care about how many times you've refined your hi-hat and
Yeah,
how
yeah,
many
yeah.
times all the dBs if you kick drum. I'm like, bro, I'm the kind of guy that will literally listen to a mix down over
Yeah.
and over and over. Take it, decrease
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shakers by 1 decibel. No one gives a fuck at
Yeah, yeah,
all
that's it.
about any of this. So, yeah, less is more, brother. I think that's a
Exactly.
beautiful one. Is there anything else you'd
Wicked.
like to add before we wrap up, bro?
Oh God. I think no, I think that's a good place
Yeah,
to
bro,
leave
there's
it.
so much value in here, bro. I
Oh,
was
good
actually
stuff.
taking notes on my. I'm gonna
Oh,
have to watch
nice.
this back and take a get a few segments. But yeah, there's a few notes.
It's annoying though because there's always so much more to say, but I think it's also good to, like we just said, less is more.